Hello, this is the TradeSite US Stocks and Futures Market Preview for Wednesday, the 29th of April 2020. We had a good trading day. We had an excellent day here on Tuesday. Made money in Forex, good money in futures, and great money in stocks. So no complaints at all across the board there. Markets gapped up and sold off. It was a good sell-off, which is what led to the gains. And then the second half of the day was pretty boring. Here's a look at the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market in futures form. You can see we peaked our head up above the highs of the last couple of weeks, but immediately got smacked back down. We'll go through the major daily charts, then we'll look at the intraday action. Then we'll talk about the data coming out on Wednesday. So crude oil closes down at 1270, down a few cents. Gold down $1.90, which is still up near the highs. Nothing special there. The S&P cash ended up closing down 15.09 again after being up early. NASDAQ 100 down 160.06. There's some really interesting stuff here because remember, we had some big up days where the breadth was not very good. It was really just movement up in the big stocks like Amazon and our usual FANG stocks. Well, now today, as you'll see in a minute, the advanced decline ratio numbers are actually positive, but NASDAQ was weak yesterday compared to the broad market, and it was very negative today, and it's because those big name stocks were down. So we'll look at that in a minute. And again, if we look at the fibs here, we're coming back towards the 62% fib retracement from the move down, and this S&P cash still never quite got it. Got almost there today to the 62% fib line. I'm going to leave those up on the daily charts for these for the foreseeable future. Meanwhile, the stocks gapped up over that green static trend line and immediately sold off, putting an engulfing candle to the downside, down 11.83. Biotech's down 87.41. Finally, a pullback day on the biotechs. Russell 2000 up 17.35. So the main thing that was green on the session, the VIX up all of 34 cents. It did get down back near 30. The trend closes at 0.74. Puts the 10-day at 1.05. NASDAQ volume was 3.6 billion shares, which is obviously decent, but not necessarily spectacular. It was heavy early on, though, when we had that sell-off. There was definitely more volume in the first hour than we've seen in a while. We hit 1 billion shares after 60 minutes. Advanced decline ratio on the NASDAQ was positive 538. So this is what I'm talking about. On the NASDAQ, more stocks up than down. On the New York, positive 1,265. Way more stocks up than down, even though the markets were negative across the board in terms of the indices. But here's where the NASDAQ weakness comes in. Google down 38.27. Apple down 4.59. Netflix down 17.55. Amazon down 61.92. Tesla down 29.63. And Facebook down $4.59. So, the big stocks, here's Goldman Sachs actually closed green, plus 347. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, up $1.93, which is nothing, and the Dow was literally down 32 points after all that. So again, those big tech stocks. Remember, the reality of what this global shutdown means for the economies of the world and when they're going to all start to interoperate. It doesn't really matter if some of our states try to open back up. If that ends up leading to them being closed down again soon enough, that's going to be more crippling than if we just done it right in the first place. But B, if the rest of the world doesn't open up, there's a lot of global commerce that's going to be affected by what's happening here. So the realities are still here to set in with the market, and I think today was a good sign of that. We called it right from the open, so that was a good general move in the market. Let's take a look at the intraday action so you can see how it happened. There's the ES gapped up, pretty much flat for 25 minutes or so, and then boom, just started tanking, filled the gap, and then that was pretty much it. Rest of the day stayed in that range until the last few minutes, and we have actually sold off in the 15 minutes after the close. Remember, there's 3 5-minute candles that after the stock market closes in the futures, and those have been down as well. So now got a little push down late in the day and then really sold off here in the aftermarket. When you look at the NASDAQ side, there it is. Again, sold off in the last 15 minutes after the close of the stock market. This was far more negative. Remember, the NASDAQ's NASDAQ's now down almost 100 points just for the first 2 days of the week, whereas the ES is actually up since Friday's close still. So a little mixed market there between the tech stocks and the broad market indices. In terms of economic data on Wednesday, it's an interesting day. We've got the first look at the GDP for the first quarter, expected at negative 3.19. We're still in the middle of core earnings season, so there's a lot of stocks to report earnings. Wednesday and Thursday in particular. We've got pending home sales 30 minutes into the market, crude oil inventories an hour into that, We got the Fed statement at 2 p.m. Eastern Time, and then the Fed press conference. We'll see what they have to say about the current situation at 2:30. Still lots to come this week, and then obviously statements print Thursday after the close for the end of April. So we'll see what we get. Charts, as usual, brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple weeks. Have a great trading Wednesday.